On, guys? Good morning. What's happening? Happy evening to the Brits. Happy afternoon to the Canadians and what do we say? The Yanks? I don't know if that's the right word. Anyway, we're here for another episode of the podcast. I'm super freaking pumped. We're going to be starting this episode in 3 minutes. So as you're coming into this one live, let me know in the comments that you're here. I'm back in my bunker. Where I love being, and we're going to rip into a really good episode of the podcast, guys. So it is coming in. Let us know if you're coming into this one live. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I hope you are having a splendid start to the day. Just checking. So a few of you guys, I'm noticing are still, for some reason, not displaying. So if I show you this is what the stream looks like. If you click on the More button to expand it and you go to the bottom there, you will see a link that says chat.restream. Please click that link so I can see who you actually are. Okay, so if you were first in here this morning, if I don't mention your name, do that, all right? So we've got Facebook user, good morning and welcome back to BC. I'm assuming that might be you, Mandeep. I hope you're well, legend. Shawnee's here. Hello. Sean, see, I get to display your name because you've clicked that link. Morning. Hope you're good. Same as you, JC. I hope you're well, legend. Guys, we're starting in a minute and a half. Who have we got? I don't even know who it is. Guys, sharing all the love, but I can't see who you are. Christy, beautiful. Look at this. That's what it looks like. So, Jules, morning, knee-deep in puppies. You're a weirdo, Jules. I love it. So good. Lozzie, what's going on, mate? I hope you're having a beautiful start to the morning. Guys, we're starting in 1 minute. How was your weekend? Hi, Jace. Get down into that comments. No, not the comments, the body. And just click restream. It should take literally 30 seconds, if that, and you'll never have to do it again. Hello, Kate. Good morning. I hope you're well. Guys, super stoked. Yes, Beck, it definitely does work, and that's how easy it is. Morning, and you're back. Love it. Fantastic work on your check-ins as well, Beck. You are killing it, mate. So good. Guys, we're starting in 30 seconds, and this is going to be a big episode of which I'm going to talk a little bit about my main man, Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I've just finished reading his book, and it's incredible. And hopefully you do the same. Good morning, Jace. Hey, Kate. How are you, girl? Morning. Get down into the link there. And we're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast. This is the podcast that you come to when you are sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. I'm back here in BC, Canada, Vancouver, settling into the cold. It's kind of like somewhere between 2 and 6 degrees every morning. And it's a pretty big turnaround from 30, 32, 33 days that we're getting towards the end of Australia. But I'm super freaking psyched to spend the next 3 to 4 months really bunking down and improving everything that we do. Now, to you guys that are still not jumping on coaching calls through the week, you are missing out. This is by far and away the best way for you to connect to the process. Even if you're not that active on the Facebook group, that's completely fine. Please get into the coaching calls and make yourself available. You've got to do that because if you don't do it, you're still trying to do this journey on your own, and that's what got you stuck in the first place. Final question, guys, before we get into this episode, for those of you that are part of our academy, I would like to know, would you like us to do another merch run? If you do, then you have to let us know because it takes a while. And if you want this pre-Christmas, then we need to basically do it now. Okay? So if you want us to do another merch run, please get down into the comments and let us know. Mandeep says, at least no snow yet. That's exactly right, brother. All right, so let's get into the episode. So if any of you have heard me talk about him, Arnold is someone I idolize. He's definitely made mistakes. What I love about the way that he makes mistakes is that he handles them with straight up ownership. This is a guy that was born in Austria to a very normal family and went on to become the most known bodybuilder of all time, one of the most known actors of all time, the governor of California, and now he's doing some stuff in the motivational space, which is really, if you're in this space and you pay attention, it's really taking people by storm. Now, if you've watched the movie Terminator and that's your only exposure to him, you'd be right in thinking, or rather justified in thinking that this guy's just an unintelligent meathead womanizer. But the more I listen to his words, the more I become fascinated about this guy that came from nothing, yet he's achieved everything. So let me know in the comments, who knows a bit about this guy? Who's actually read some of his stuff? Who's listened to a few of his podcasts? Who subscribes to his podcast, which comes out once a day? It's really, really good. At 76 years old, he appears to be in this zone of his life where he just wants to make a contribution. A guy named Rich Roll, who's a famous endurance athlete, he recently had him on his podcast, and he said, this is the influencer that we all need right now. And I totally agree, because the way that he speaks is very simple, very direct, in a language that most people can understand. It's not all this fluffy, crazy shit. On the plane back from Australia, I read half of his new book and then completed the rest last week. It's called Be Useful. This is the book. And I think we've inspired a number of Better Body Academy members to get it. It's a beautiful, attractive cover, isn't it? Be Useful, 7 Tools for Life. So what this is, it's basically an Arnold snapshot of his philosophies for life. Now, whether you're into weightlifting or not, it's very applicable. It's an easy read, and I'm putting it next to Atomic Habits as a must read for our members. As the title suggests, he outlines 7 different tools and how to use them to be useful, contributing to society, and to better yourself. But I want to kind of point out that for me, it's the first of these tools that he talks about in the group that I was drawn to. Now, if you've read the book, I want to know if you've felt the same way. If you've started the book, this is the chapter on having a clear vision, something that most people lack. In fact, a bunch of people will probably drop off listening to this episode the moment that I say that. And the reason is because to create a vision is such a confronting task. When you ask yourself the question, what do I want to do in life? That's a really confronting thing to ask yourself. We always talk in our academy about fear of failure. We talk about fear of failure all the time and how it stops people from trying or moving forward. But on the other side of that coin of fear of failure is fear of success. So I want you to ask yourself, what would happen if all of your wildest dreams come true? Or at least a good handful of them. This is fear of success. What if you started living a life where the depth of your relationships, becoming healthy and able, having more money, getting to experience more? I mean, who would you be without the victim stories that have kept you stuck for so long? It'd almost be as isolating, right? You wouldn't even know yourself. That seems to be foreign to you. And for this reason, it stops most people getting to work on their vision. Not often because they're fearing failure, but they're actually fearing success. I want to read for you the first paragraph from the chapter on vision. Listen up. So many of our best people are lost. So many of the good ones don't know what they're doing with their lives. They're unhappy, they're unhealthy. 70% of them statistically hate their job. Their relationships are unrewarding. They don't smile, they don't laugh, they have no energy, and they feel useless, as if life was pushing them down a road to nowhere. If you know where to look, you'll see these people everywhere, maybe even when you look in the mirror. It's okay, you're not broken, and neither are they. But this is what happens when you don't have a clear vision for your life and you've taken whatever you can get or whatever you think you deserve. But we can fix that. So let me know in the comments if that speaks to you. Let me know in the comments if that actually speaks to you, what's just been said then. I've got a feeling that might hit a couple of people. I certainly totally relate to that. Working a job that I hated for such a long period of time. And for the last 3 to 4 years that I was working that job, it just felt like Groundhog Day. Do you know that feeling? I was not by any means living my life vision. In fact, an entire sales team of 100 people depended on me to lead them and help them to buy into the company vision that I was the national sales manager for. But there was a disjoint because my life vision was far bigger than the vision that the company had for me. I'm guessing a lot of you feel like that. You think to yourself, I can do more. What am I doing here? And so despite me working relentless hours at the detriment to my own health, physically and mentally, I didn't get paid anymore. I didn't get promoted anymore. Admittedly, I didn't have the courage to throw it all in at that point and follow my vision because I lacked the self-belief. Like, I honestly lacked the self-belief. I think about how different my life would be right now if it wasn't for COVID happening and that pandemic just wiping out businesses en masse, effectively forcing me to go all in on myself. If that didn't happen, I might still be in this job because I was too scared to take a leap myself. And this is why I'm always pushing people to get uncomfortable, because I was too scared to do it myself. Thank God I at least had a vision to fall back on so that when I got sacked with a wife that was 3 months pregnant, I was able to capitalize on that. Do you ever question your life? Do you ever ask yourself, like, how did I end up here? Do you ever do that? In short, wherever we are right now is the culmination of a million small and big decisions we've made over the course of a lifetime. But the big problem that most of us struggle with is the fact that the majority of those decisions we didn't actually consciously make. We weren't intentional about them. We made decisions or didn't make decisions without an end goal in mind, or at least a progress goal in mind. And then one day we just wake up and we think, like, fuck, what am I doing here? Like, why am I doing this? And it's people like it. They say it's very cool to say that I don't have any regrets. I don't know. I bet that if you think about your last 10 to 20 years, there would be a number of decisions that you wish you did or didn't make. It's not that you hold on to those, but they would have put you in a better decision or position rather than you are now. Regardless, and this is the key point, your past doesn't define your future unless you let it. If you've always been overweight, that doesn't mean that you need to remain overweight. If you've always been an average role model, that doesn't mean that you need to remain an average role model. If you've always sold yourself short, you can start that change right now. If you've always felt like you've lacked a vision, by becoming aware of that, you take the first steps to creating it for yourself. We cannot change the circumstances we were born into. Some of it's unfair, but we can take ownership and responsibility for what happens moving forward. If you want to look better, feel better, experience more, love more, create more, have more impact in the world, it probably starts with realizing that you lack a clear vision and then gradually building one. And this is why this was the first chapter in Arnold's book. I bet that the moment you think about doing that, you become paralyzed with fear and you want to do something different. That's normal because a lot of us have not thought expansively for any time in the last couple of decades. There's two things that a clear vision gives you that I see. Number one, a direction to move towards. It's like a compass. Regardless of the speed, we don't care about the speed. We care about the direction. But if you've got clarity in some vision, then you're going a certain way. The second thing that it does is it gives you a frame in which to make decisions. If you've got a vision, you've got a frame to make decisions. You ask yourself, does this move me closer to my vision or further away? It sounds simple, right? But I want you to think about this now, okay? Let's do a little activity together. So think about the vision that you might have for your body, your physical health, okay? Your body and your physical health. Now, even if you've not thought about this until now, take a moment to think about it. Now, this is just an example of how having a vision can help you with the frame of which you make decisions. Does the lunch that you have packed in your bag today or ready to go in your fridge, does the lunch take you closer or not to that goal? Or does it take it further away? That's just an example of how being clear in your vision gives you a framework to make decisions. Now, a lot of people are going to say stuff like, wait, this level of discipline is just going to sterilize my life and take away my freedom. This freedom thing is a paradox. If you understand this thing that I'm about to say now, I think it changes everything. People, listen up, people think that being disciplined around eating or training is restrictive. So you might say to your friend, I'm following this meal plan. And they say, are you fucking serious? That sounds terrible. That sounds like you're just going to have to eat whatever someone else tells you to eat and you've got no freedom. I want to eat whatever I want. It's actually the opposite. When you think about that, you can have ice cream when you've made room for it by being disciplined. So actually, it's not what people think, where being disciplined creates restriction. It's actually the complete opposite. Eating whatever you want actually becomes extremely restrictive long term because you'll gain weight, you'll be unable to play with your kids, fit in your clothes, and you'll have to take lots of medications. Like, which one of these creates the freedom for you? The biggest challenge that we've got in developing a vision is knowing where to start when you've just got no idea what you want. And I know that that'll be 50% of people, and that's completely fine. This isn't critical. Most people's vision is not this right now. Would you agree? I don't know what I want, but it's just not this. And that's fine. But they haven't really pondered what they want. And so in the book, Arnold provides two possible ways to go about this conundrum, which I reckon are really, really practical. Okay? So if you feel like you don't really have a vision and you don't really know what to do about it, what can you actually do about this? Okay, I'm going to give you the two ways that he outlines in the book. The first is to start broad and zoom out. Okay, this is for those of us that maybe have a few ideas but not much more. He talks about how as a 10-year-old kid in Austria, he'd seen pictures of America and all of its ornaments like the Golden Gate Bridge and Empire State Building and the slick Hollywood stars. He just knew that he needed to get there. He had no idea what he was going to do, but he instantly felt that that was where he belonged. This is a 10-year-old kid. He said that the picture was very fuzzy and zoomed out. He claims that some of our strongest visions emerge out of ideas we had when we were young. Think about that now for you. Before we started to conform to other people's opinions and judgments about what we should be, some of your earliest obsessions might perhaps be a clue to how you wanted to live your life, but didn't live your life because life came up. Maybe you had kids, maybe you met a partner, maybe you experienced trauma. For me, this was absolutely true. I was thinking about this morning. The gym has always been the place that calls to me the most. I love the community in a gym. I love the way having a nice, strong body with nice skin makes you feel. Like, that's just for me and might not be for you, but that's for me. And without the gym, I noticed changes to my mood and my attitude for life. In the book, Arnold recounts tons of examples like Tiger Woods, who just picked up a golf club, right, and didn't let it go. For you, there might be a broad idea like, I love taking photos, I love helping people, I love traveling the world, or I love playing a guitar. So think about some things that kind of come up for you when I say that. Perhaps these are the starting points from where you can zoom in on, Arnold suggests. And just to clarify, I'm not saying that you should quit your job and go and play on a street somewhere, play the guitar and think you're becoming a millionaire by taking some photos overnight. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But playing a guitar and taking photos might themselves be part of your vision for your ideal life. And it's unclear, but as you start to zoom in, maybe these little inspirations that you have a purpose. He uses an example in the book on how when people go to the gym, it's clear they have no plan. They just ping pong around from machine to machine without any real intention. And he goes up to people and says, why are you coming to the gym? They respond, I'm here to get in shape. And so he asks, in shape for what? And that they have no idea. They can't tell you what in shape means for them. So let me ask you, are the men and the women that are in our academy that love the gym and are getting great results, is it possible that those guys and girls just have a clearer vision on what they're trying to achieve? So they're not haphazard in their approach? It's a great example. And in turn, if you're going through the motions, unsure while you're actually there, what chance have you kind of got of getting to where you want to go if you don't know where you want to go yourself? So this is he calls it zoom out. Let's talk about the second possibility, because I think probably the majority of people fall into this category, where you don't have any real early inspirations for a vision. You're not like, for example, Arnold, where he just knew he wanted to go to America, or myself, where I just always felt at home in a gym. Something to start zooming in on. If that's you, give me a silent head nod. What if your childhood was filled with trauma? What if there was a lack of experiences? Maybe you come from a lower class family and it was just, you didn't have the money to go on holidays, for example, or provoke the start of an obsession. I love this quote in the book. What if those memories and the possibilities they carry have actually been squeezed out by the destruction of our devices? They've been erased by all of the things that stop people from being creative and make people feel helpless. Let me read from the book. This is tragic. Now, I'm speaking to a number of people in our academy directly. There is one, I'm not going to mention her name, but I feel if I look at you down the camera, you'll understand who you are. This is tragic, but it's also completely unacceptable to sit there and do nothing about it, to play the victim. Only you can create the life that you want for yourself. No one else is going to do it. If you don't know what that looks like for whatever reason, it's fine. That doesn't matter. We're here now. The choices you make from this moment onwards are what matters. And right now, there are two things that you should do if you don't have any idea what your vision is, what your purpose is. So we've talked about, I've got some ideas, we're going to zoom in. This is what you should do if you don't have any ideas. And to those of you in the mastermind, listen up, because this will help. Number one, or first step rather, create small goals for yourself. Don't try to worry about the big plan for now. The aim will be to let our vision over the course of the next few years open up in front of us. When we have more self-belief and we've created time to think and create, what are the small things that you can do immediately that make you feel proud when you achieve them? It might be following the meal plan. It might be getting to the gym 3 days a week, reading a chapter a day from a book, doing 20 push-ups every morning. Doesn't really matter. What is it for you? What are the things that make you feel accomplished and in momentum? The idea is to focus your attention on things worth paying attention to, not your phone, so that you create some momentum and develop a rhythm. Doing things, taking action, creates momentum. Creating momentum creates motivation. As you feel more motivated, the sense of uselessness that you feel loosens its grip on you because you're taking action. We've done lots of podcasts on this topic before, how motivation is just a feeling that comes after you've done something. The mistake that people make is they wait to get motivated before taking action. As an example, they'll wait to get motivated before going to work on their vision. It does not work that way. It works by starting to work on your vision, as hard as that really is, which creates momentum that makes you feel motivated. Motivation is the outcome of doing the work, not the prerequisite to start. Does this make sense? So the first step is just doing some things that make you feel accomplished if you have no idea what that is. The second step, as he puts it, is to put the machines away and create time and space. Now, Arnold talks about machines. What he means is devices that distract you with external stimuli, phones, Netflix, gaming, actually reading books when you aren't actually doing anything can be another example of this. We use these machines as distractions because we've become uncomfortable when there's a gap in the activity. When we feel like there's nothing to do, this is the perfect time to be creative. I absolutely love this approach. And when I feel every 6 months like my vision is dimming, I try to create time and space. I make sure my desk is entirely clear. At the moment, it's an absolute mess. Today, I'm going to clear it all off, put some instrumental music on that I don't know the words to so it doesn't distract me. I put it on very low volume. I take a pen and paper and then I just ask myself, what do I want? Our lives are so distracted, and creating this space and time is the only way that I know how to do it in the fashion that I've just laid out in front of you. A quote from Arnold, while this process is hard at first, do you know what's harder? Living a life that you hate. That's hard. This, by comparison, is a walk in the park. So the question is for you, how do you create time and space to think, especially when you've got young kids and it's really hard? Arnold talks about the transformative power of walking and how ideas just seem to come to you when you walk. The 17 people watching live, does anyone get that? Does anyone have that same thing where they go for a walk without their noise in their ear and all of a sudden just ideas start to just come to them? I had this experience 2 days ago. I went for my first run since the marathon and I did it without listening to music or a podcast. And it was because the traffic noise was so loud and I couldn't hear that it was on top volume. I couldn't hear. So I just took it off and put it in my pocket 5 minutes in. All of a sudden, with all that space and time, ideas would just, I must have had like 5 ideas on different podcasts and trainings and ways to better myself. And it was because I created time and space. Now for you, it might be going to the gym, sitting in a sauna. Nikki friend, it might be going for a surf. It really doesn't matter. What is it that creates time and space for you? More time and space, more creation. As Arnie said, if you can't find what you're looking for, at least give it the chance to find you. Let that sit for a second. If you can't find what you're looking for, at least give it the chance to find you. Now, as we bring this podcast to a close, and probably a really deep, challenging podcast to listen to, I get it. Like, this can easily go on the too busy pile, right? 1,000% it can easily go on the too busy pile. The crazy thing is that we are willing to be so diligent making time to make other people's lives better. We sacrifice ourselves for our family, but we're not willing to spend the time on ourselves for our own good, creating the space to figure out what we want to do for the 80 years that we're on the planet. Don't you reckon that's crazy when you think about it? All the while knowing that we're going to get to the end and regret not doing more when we were younger and healthier. It comes down to one thing, doing that creative work where humans have this faculty to do, but we don't use it because we're too busy worrying about the past or the future. And instead of actually creating time and space to create a faculty that other animals don't have. This is what provides us freedom over the long term. Avoiding the creative work is very easy. Avoiding the creative work is extremely easy, but it also strips us of our freedom over the long term. So we're back to that eternal conundrum. Short-term pleasure versus long-term pain. Be drawn back into the thing that screams the loudest, or focus on the thing that's actually the most important long-term. This is what we all struggle with. This is where being in the right community is just fucking imperative. If you're surrounded by inspiration, ideas can come to you in your mind about what's possible for you. When you're surrounded by people who are doing the work, you are more inclined to do the work by yourself. To those of you that are in the mastermind, This is why the container works so well to change people. You are with other people that are willing to do the work on a higher level. Don't quit. When I think about my own life, every single thing that I put on my vision wall comes true. Every single thing. It's not magic. There's no like, oh, manifestation here. This is the process of asking yourself, what do you want? Getting clearer and clearer and clearer in the picture of what that looks like. Zooming in and asking, what do you want to look like? What do you want to feel like? How do you want to show up in the world? What type of parent do you want to be? What type of person do you want to be? What values do you want to represent? What do you want to experience? What do you love the most? What brings you the most amount of joy? Without getting clear on these things, we're just kind of like ships in the night floating around waiting for a dock. And if you're feeling overwhelmed by the content in this episode, I totally understand it. I'm feeling overwhelmed about pressing stop on this episode and going back to looking at my vision, clearing off my... I'm feeling overwhelmed by it. But it's got to happen. But we don't need to rush it. We just need to start it. Don't get caught in this whole chat about like, I don't have a vision, I'm useless. No. The fact that you've become aware that you're not really sure what you want puts you ahead of 95% of people so that you can actually create some time and space to start creating. And guess what? What I've found is bringing your vision to life is going to mean that you've got to work your ass off. But it's better to work your ass off with purpose and intention for something that you want rather than be working for the rest of your life to escape something you don't want. And that, my friends, is where we'll finish this episode. This has been the Better Body Academy podcast, coming to you on a Monday morning Australian time, wrapping up the weekend in the Northern Hemisphere. I hope you guys are having a beautiful start. And if anyone wants to stick around and have a chat about this, I'm here. See you guys in the next episode. Okay, so team, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on what was discussed? Let's have a conversation. There's 20 people here. Happy to chat. Happy to kind of answer questions or especially difficult things. Kate says, just wallowing in the shadows because I don't know where I want to go. Kate, so this is a great example of you're clearly, like it's clearly obvious. You're a very intelligent person, Kate. Like that's very clear to me. Okay, so you probably, maybe, if I'm guessing what you're saying there, fitting the category of the second thing where like I'm intelligent and I've got some good things in my life, but I just don't really know what to do. Well, this is just an opinion, but Arnold's suggestion, and I totally agree with this, is do what you're doing now, Kate. Like you're starting from the ground up and you're focusing on things, on taking action on small things, right? You're pushing yourself into uncomfortable positions. You're showing up for yourself. If you push yourself through that and you just keep doing that, you create momentum. And that momentum builds into self-belief and confidence. And this gives you a platform to then go, well, hang on, like I've done these things. I can prove to myself that I've done these things. Now I just need to create some space to explore what's here. Does this make sense? So don't like think about the big picture for now. Just think about the building from the ground up. As Sue says, I'm following the meal plan. I'm feeling more in control than I've ever felt in my life. You didn't wait until you were motivated, Suze, to follow the meal plan. You just did the meal plan and then you got motivated. When you say I feel more in control, there's a sense of motivation that comes with that. And now you ask yourself, Suze, am I ready to take on the next thing? If I'm ready to take on the next thing, what is that? What's going to make me feel proud? What's going to make me feel... And then what's happening is gradually that feeling of helplessness is being diluted in your mind because you don't feel that anymore because you're doing stuff. Sean says, I get that at the gym, the time and space, the inspiration. Yes, I quickly put them in my phone. Kara, that's what I do. And you know, the hardest thing that I struggle with is sometimes I get really good ideas when I'm listening to podcasts. And so I'm driving at the same time and I'm like, fuck, it's dangerous for me to it's almost like I need a second phone to voice record into as they come. A lot easier when you're walking, right? And Carly says, yeah, I get it, especially having the complete silence. Yeah, complete silence. Kaylee says, going to buy the book today. Yeah, and it's just such an easy read. It's just such an easy read. And I would almost say, like, personally, read the first... I don't want to be a spoiler, but read the first 3 chapters over and over again. The first 3 chapters being, have a clear vision, never think small, work your ass off. The obstacle is the way. Yeah, 100%, Mikey. 100%. I have some works to do. Yeah. Beck, the best thing that I've come to understand is that we're all a work in progress. There is not a single person on the earth that is the finished product. Not one. We're just at different levels of development. And that's what it's... You're always going to be feeling like you have a lot of work to do. That's not... As long as you're ambitious, Beck, that's not going to change. We call this in our mastermind program, life in the gap. The gap between where you are now at any one point in time and where you want to get to. The destructive mindset that comes from being ambitious, people call it black and white, all or nothing, is this idea that because I've got work to do, I'm not there yet. And because I'm not there yet, I'm just exacerbating my lack. Well, no, you could just accept that you're doing the work and you're always going to be doing the work. Like, I always feel like I'm not there yet. Always feel like I'm not there yet. But what's the meaning you assign to being not there yet? I don't yet have the mindset. I don't yet have the skill set. That's why I'm not there. But that doesn't translate into I'm shit, give up. That means I'm not there yet. That means I have to learn. And my experience, just on that note, Beck, I'm sure you agree, Mike, is that the more you learn, it becomes this like avalanche of realization that the more you learn, the less you realize you know. Like, literally, you know nothing. And so if by that recognition of, oh shit, I know nothing, you go, the meaning you assign to that is, so I am shit. Like, that's going to be the worst quality of life in the world. It's kind of like Sean Duras, if he's still here, he's got this kind of mindset at the moment where he's not where he wants to go, but he's like, I know nothing. How exciting is this going to be over the next 10 years when I'm going to learn so much? And he's just playing an infinite game. I could go into a whole different kind of conversation around infinite games around this, but yeah, it's just so good. Great, thanks. Yep. I feel like every big decision just happened because I haven't really made a conscious decision to do them. Yeah, this is the point, Shaz, and they did, me included, because we have a subconscious mind so that it automates decisions for us. Otherwise, if we had to think about every decision, the brain would fry because it doesn't have the ability to make all of those decisions consciously all of the time. Okay, I need to breathe now. Okay, I need to blink. Oh shit, I need to blink. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you had to make each of those decisions individually and consciously, the computer would fry in a second. So we automate habits and programs so that we don't have to think about them. The question is, what are we automating? And it takes like this level of awareness to understand, whoa, I just automated something that is like a really sabotaging behavior, as an example. Good morning, Hazel is here too. Hey guys, I hope you're good. I'm coming to the end of the podcast. Okay, well, I think we can wrap that one up there. Hopefully that's been beneficial and a good start. This is the book that we talked about. You'll know the cover. It's a bloody excellent book, 7 Tools for Life. I'd suggest just like read particularly the first 3 chapters 10 times as I'm going to. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Love y'all.